Trust, quality, and sustainability are values I live by. That's the quote from Werner Schiesser when he has to summarize what is most important in his professional life. Werner Schiesser looks back to an executive career in the field of professional services for more than 30 years. And he now focuses on his different board functions as chairman or member in several very interesting companies, mainly located in Switzerland. I know Werner for more than a decade, and I trust that his insights will also bring some additional learnings to our listeners here. Especially his different perspectives as an external service provider in the past and now in his role as a board member. I would also like to talk with Werner about the expectation he has when he trusts external advisors and what kind of red flags he sees in that specific industry when it comes to integrity. And as always, when I talk to my guests, I'm interested in what is not obvious, what is not written in the curriculum. I would like to learn about the human who impacts corporate integrity.
Corporate integrity, fraud, non-compliance, and cybersecurity. Would you like to understand the root causes, detect threats, and take measurements to protect the most precious assets? As a leader, you need to be prepared and stay actionable in the event of an incident. Sonja Stirnimann talks in her podcast, The Human Factor. Corporate integrity matters. To leaders and entrepreneurs who want to have impact, foster corporate integrity, and act as role models. As an international expert for corporate governance and integrity, entrepreneur, and independent board member, she knows the challenges. Let her inspire you.
Welcome back to this new episode of the podcast, The Human Factor, Corporate Integrity Matters. You might be a board member, executive or non-executive, a business professional, a corporate integrity leader, or on your way there. I'm your mentor and sparring partner when it comes to corporate integrity with impact, founder of Corporate Integrity Concepts with the different formats for corporate integrity leadership, with the vision to protect and secure assets, reputation, and actionability, yours and the one of your organizations. Why? Because corporate integrity matters to all of us. But now let's talk to Werner. So, Werner, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and being here today. We both know each other now for more than a decade, and I appreciate your contribution to our society with your different activities you have right now. And as you know, our conversation will focus on you, your professional environment, and your own personal experience when it comes to corporate integrity.
Very much looking forward to.
So you know a little bit what we are talking about today, and I'm so curious to know what kind of role corporate integrity plays right now in your current functions, because you're a chairman, you're a board member in different boards and also in different industries. So what is the role of corporate integrity there?
I think corporate integrity starts with the individuals involved at first. So corporate integrity, to start with me. That I try my best to have a very high level of integrity for myself. And then entering a board, everyone knows in those boards that I'm present right now. Everybody knows what I stand for. And so I think that they all accept that integrity is an integral part of what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And for corporate integrity, absolute key is the tone at the top. Those who rule the board, those who rule the management, they have to be, they have to live that integrity day in and day out. And I think integrity is not so much in the forefront of our topics and discussions because it's already set there by being there. I believe that I give a strong signal that integrity is key to me, and they all know that. Of course, formally, integrity plays a high role in those industries that are more regulated. I will join a board mid this year of a bank, so integrity there is automatically part of the discussions. And in smaller small and medium-sized enterprise boards, integrity is not a constant topic during the discussions, but it's there, it's in the room.
So you brought up a very good point that you said, I'm the one who shows what integrity means to me. Does it also happen with your colleagues? Because I think it's not normal, or it's not, I don't see it that often, what you said right now, because we really have to display and also demonstrate what we as a person, as an individual, what kind of integrity level we have. What is your experience with that? Because I have some colleagues not displaying or not showing up with their own integrity.
I think, or I do hope that the boards I choose to join are set with people that fulfill my requirements on integrity, and have, I cannot remember a clear case where somebody would have disappointed me in that regard. So where I would say, well, I thought that is a trustworthy person, and I was deceived by, and I learned afterwards.
Okay.
I had that in my corporate career before. I had people that disappointed me, that did not live up to my standard of integrity. But wherever I go, I think, so my test for integrity is if you wake me up 3:00 in the morning and you ask me a question to some work I do in a board, or earlier to some aspects of the company, I want to give exact the same answer as if you asked that question at 2:00 in the afternoon.
That's a good test. Do you also use that test for your executive board members you are going to hire? This would be interesting, because I think it's a different level. And as you said before, the career you had in the last 30 years, you were part of a large organization in the management team. You had a lot of people working for and with you. And it's different. That's what you said, you also had the occasions where you were disappointed, maybe also about integrity. How do you deal with that? Or did you deal with that?
Yeah, that is no compromise, because, well, as you know, I've been in the area of audit and fiduciary services. So that's an absolutely zero tolerance environment, because the only thing these companies have, the only asset these companies have, is the integrity of their employees and partners. So there cannot be a compromise with regard to integrity, and those people have to leave the firm.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. And what do you think are the biggest biases? The biggest biases we have either on board level, on executive or non-executive board levels, when it comes to integrity.
I do have the impression now, looking what's going on actually, and reading newspapers and watching TV, is the main mistake is that some rules do not apply to those at the top. So we have corporate integrity is for the corporation, but because I am kind of above everything below that, it does not apply to me. That happened in Downing Street, and that happens in banks, and that happens at other places too. And that's for the morale, or for the sentiment in the company, that's disastrous. Well, as you know, I have a long career with forensic services as well, and most people knew that the guy or the girl who was cheating most knew that something is wrong there, which sends a terrible signal to all employees, because when they know that they cheat at the top, why shouldn't they cheat themselves?
And they also recognize that they are protected by the boards, by the non-executive boards. That's both. If you have people cheating on management level, on the top level, on the executive board, employees see what's going on, but they also see that nobody is going to take action on the non-executive board level. Yep, absolutely. It's a disaster, and
so they feel safe to do the same things and cut corners.
On one side, they feel safe, and on the other side, they have no hope that it's going to change as long as you have that constellation. And a lot of good people are leaving the companies. So, Werner, I would like to talk a little bit about your personal experiences you have and you had right now. You also have right now. So what was the moment, or was there a moment when your own personal integrity was under pressure or at risk? Can you remember any occasion back for the last 30 to 40 years?
Well, in the audit, sometimes that happens to you. In the audit, you have all these issues on the independence. But the mother of all dependencies is the fact that you are paid by your customer. And that's not treated at all. So you have to cover that with your personality. And yes, there have been occasions where somebody would ask me, well, if you don't feel like signing that report now, I might be obliged to switch auditors.
Yes.
And then you have to say, yes, I think that's the best way to go for both of us. I think it's very important that your superiors do not kill you for getting rid of a client under these circumstances.
It's also, again, tone at the top of a professional services firm and an audit firm. And we also have cases right now, also in the press, where it might not have happened.
Might be.
So, because
it depends on the compensation of people. So if turnover has a big impact on turnover with the clients, a big impact on what you earn. You increase these temptations that
Absolutely.
You keep a client where you shouldn't keep that client because integrity is not given.
And you cannot act independently. The independence in mind is just not given.
It's gone.
If you're treated like that and if you're incentivized like that, it just can't happen. And you also displayed right now how you coped with that situation. But did you also receive support, or have you ever been in the position or in the situation that you said, there's nobody supporting me in my decision right now, but I know it's the right way to go?
Luckily enough, I did not experience such a situation.
Maybe it's also the reason why you stayed that long in one company. For all the ones listening to us, they can really check also Werner's LinkedIn profile, and you exactly know how long he stayed with his former firm before he became a professional board member. So, how would you support, or what advice would you give to younger people, maybe also the ones starting now with an audit career? How could they really make sure that they can follow their own integrity and not being influenced by such kind of negative behavior?
For me, it was always the question, and I had this discussion with clients as well. Imagine next day that is on the headlines of the news, the circumstances and your decision somehow. And some journalists ask you the questions, and you have the microphone in front of your mouth. Do you have an intelligent answer to what he is asking, or you don't have an intelligent answer? If you don't have the intelligent answer, then your decision you're about to take is wrong.
Okay.
So it's always what would happen, or what would people think if they knew the facts?
That's a good one. And I hope our listeners also take that seriously for them and give the advice also to their maybe employees or colleagues and peers to try to, it's a good one. Thank you very much for that insight. When you look back at your professional career,
I had an extremely interesting case in a forensic where in a public listed company, the CFO stole 20 million. And the CEO was invited by that CFO. That's all published in a book, so I can tell it. And then I had a discussion, and I was hired by the CEO. And then I had to go to the president of the board and tell him, you might have a problem with the CEO. That is a discussion you don't sleep very well the night before. Because you ask yourself, how strong is my case? Is that really so? And then we had that discussion with the president of the board. And at the end, I asked him exactly that question. But when he asked me, do I have to get rid of the CEO or not? I asked him, if you read that in the newspaper tomorrow, the case and the decision you did not get rid of the CEO. And then he said, yes, I understand.
Okay.
And he fired the CEO.
Good. And I think, as you mentioned, we don't like to have such kind of conversations, but we have to. And that's also our profession, that we are paid for that. And that's what we also stand for. And that's the reason why they hire us. They need to have the truths on the table that they can really decide on what they have to do. And you supported the person, also the chairman, to make that decision with your smart questions.
If you go into that industry and your aim is to be loved by everyone, you're at the wrong place.
we are not looking for friends in our profession, isn't it?
Well, I like to have friends, but
but it's not our aim,
But in the professional arena, integrity is above friends.
Absolutely. So when you look back, or when you also look what you do right now, because you are also deciding on hiring external advisors, because you are now in a board, and you also need support from externally sometimes when you do such kind of, for example, investigations. What are your expectations that you can trust external advisors?
Well, they have to understand what they are doing. Please don't oversell. That's what happens regularly in the audit arena, in particularly with full audits, with some smart IT tools. Yes, cool approach. I just don't believe it.
We sold it ourselves.
Yeah. No, I think it's that they only sell what they can sell, and that they are really capable of doing their job they are hired for. And I mean, external consultants, they cost something, but they shouldn't be for free. But first think and then act. Sometimes, especially with consultants, they try to start as quickly as possible before the aim of the exercise is clear. Because as soon as people are on the job, it's the counter is ticking.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they need to understand. Yeah.
First, an analysis of the situation and the contribution the external advisor should bring to the table. And only when that is clear and when you have defined the milestones, timeline, and costs involved, then they can start.
And what would you say are the red flags in that specific industry when it comes to integrity?
Well, as soon as they try to lie to you and get caught, it's time to get rid of them immediately. Or if they, even in minor issues, if they don't tell you the truth, they tell you, I've spoken to that person and they didn't speak to that person. Or they say, well, this report has been discussed with ABC and it has not been discussed. Then you have to immediately take out the plug.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's also important that we as board members, we are really supporting the management team also when it comes to hiring these external people, especially when it comes to investigations or maybe also audit, because we, coming from that service industry, we know what kind of questions we should ask. And we also know when something is going to be oversold to us, because we know what they can do in a certain time frame.
What they can and what they can't, and what is technically possible or realistic, and what is technical not possible or not realistic.
And what is just marketing,
Yeah. When marketing is far ahead of the professionals, then
exactly. So an auditor is not a marketing guy, not yet. And it should never become one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And where do you see all the trends and the potential at board level when it comes to corporate integrity? Do you see something already? Maybe also based on the last 2 years we had.
I think sustainability is a very big issue, and sustainability has arrived in boards.
Yeah.
And if we succeed in showing that sustainability is one part of corporate integrity, or could be a part of corporate integrity, that could be a key, or should be, that could be a key to really open the discussion to corporate integrity. So if you in the board and say, yes, now we have done our homework regarding sustainability. However, there are a few more things to achieve real corporate integrity.
Absolutely. And, if ESG is only treated as a greenwashing topic or also the marketing topic, we will not achieve anything. That's what I think. There's much more, and it's so important that we take care and really understand what's going on and what we would like to do as an organization in that field.
The corporations where they publish a 200-page book on sustainability, and the CEO still flies in private jets, that's unfortunately not an exception.
No.
and that's terribly bad. So it's really, I always in the companies I have something to say. I want that sustainability is part of the DNA. And whether they do a report or not, I give them. But the report is not the most important thing. It's the thinking and the acting.
Yes, and the behavior. It's really the behavior you have. And at the end, the reports are just the documentation, but not the implementation and living as such. Absolutely, yeah.
And the report can help in the progress of continuing development. That you measure the things and you might even publish it. But when I was still CEO with BDO, I always said we do not publish our, we have been carbon dioxide neutral, but we never communicated that, because I was always of the opinion that this is our task. We have to do it. And if the people internally know that, that's fine. But it was never a marketing tool.
But now it really turns to a marketing tool, and often maybe also abused just as a marketing tool, and people just do it because they have to and not because they know that at the end it's a competitive advantage if you are really strong in that field. Yeah, absolutely. So you are serving now more than 5 boards, and you are going to have a new one in summer. That's what I heard, what you already said. We just don't know which kind of which bank it is. We will spot you and see what you're going to do. So you're now perceived as a full-time board member. So what is your wish to successfully conduct your roles in the future?
If I can contribute to the long-time well-being of the company and bring in my beliefs, my views, and my values, because I think there is plenty companies that can use a little bit of that. Then I think I've done my job. But it's long term. You have said I've been 29 years with my former company. I always think long term, and I think it is important that all board members and member in management think long term, because short term is it destroys a lot of good things in companies. Absolutely. If you only run from quarter to quarter, that's not the way to do sustainability. It's not the way to do corporate integrity. That's not the way. No. It's a negative factor on all these good things.
And
it's long term. It takes time. In my former, when I became CEO, it took about 3 years, and then I heard first time from people. Employees that would say to me, I know exactly what you answer now. So if a question comes up and someone tells me, I know exactly what your answer is going to be now, then say, that's good. That's exactly what I want to achieve.
That's what I wanted to say. And if you are just staying for a year or 18 months, you never arrive. You never arrive in the minds of your employees, because you can't. You are not seen. You are not a person of trust, and they would also not speak up to you and tell you what's going wrong in your own organization. Never, because they cannot build up that relationship with you.
Because they do not know your values, or they do not trust your values because you didn't have the opportunity to show that that's not just in the booklet, that you live it and you live up to these values.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Werner. So it was a pleasure to listen to you and to learn from your experience. And I wish you all the best for your future, no matter what kind of role you are taking on. I'm pretty sure you are going to have impact. You also had impact over the last 30 years, so no question at all. And also when it comes to corporate integrity.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was our new episode of the Human Factor Corporate Integrity Matters, following the motto corporate integrity secures and empowers individuals and organizations. Thank you for listening. My name is Sonja Stirnimann and I'm your host. Stay curious, actionable, and a role model. Take care and goodbye. Would you like to learn more, meet peers, and getting qualified? So visit the website Corporate Integrity Concepts or Corporate Integrity Academy. Or do you think this podcast could be interesting for someone you know? Sharing is caring, and we are always happy to welcome your peers to our community. And if you like this episode, subscribe and don't miss any of the future ones. The show notes are, of course, enriched with relevant information, and your connection via any of the social media channels is highly appreciated and will be answered. Promised. And please do not forget, topics of your interest or interview partners are highly welcome. Just send me a note on any of the channels you know.